presented in the plays the manners of the upper class society. So it was a complete reflection of what the upper class, what the aristocrat class was doing. So they found their own lifestyle in the plays. So they encouraged that type of drama, and they like that. They felt that this is our own reflection. If I see my photo, I would be certainly happy. Same thing happened with the upper class society of the Restoration age, that they found the reflection of their manners, their habits, their lifestyle, their likings and dislikes in the plays which were written exclusively for them. So we call the plays of Restoration age, especially the comedies, the comedy of manners. One important thing to be noted, as you can see, that up to the minute topical writing, and this is also what Dobry discusses. Topical writing means the reflection of the upper class society lifestyle. So they found that the topics of our life, our likings, our affairs, our sexual developments, our obscene things, they all were reflected. When we think of this, we would certainly agree that this type of things, this type of plots should not be the part of literature, and that is why precisely we seldom take into account the long list of playwrights who wrote the plays and the actors who performed for the king. So we have only few of them which we could include for the consideration of our literature. So the point is that the um, vulgarity, immorality, and this type of things, witty dialogues, intellectual activities, all these things were prominent. And in a way, if you go back to the period from 1642 and up to 1660, you will find total Puritan society. What happened was there was complete ban on theatre going, so there were no obscene things, there were no vulgar practices, there were no drama at all. So in a way we can see that the Restoration comedy totally rejected the Puritan morals which were laid down and forced by the Puritan government, which was headed by Oliver Cromwell, who himself was a priest, and he imposed a kind of ban on this type of activities. And that is why we can see that the plays were popular among only a restricted class, only the upper class. It has nothing to do with the middle class or lower class. So only the topical writing, means the upper class society lifestyle, their affairs, their excesses, it was reflected in the plays. If we go to the next slide, and which gives you the list of prominent writers who wrote the comedies, and Shruti will tell more about that. She would read out the titles and I would talk some in some detail couple of them.
The major works were William Congreve's Love for Love and The Way of the World, George Atherin's The Man of Mode, John Warnberg, The Provoked Life, William Wycherley, The Courtly Life, and Arthur Behan, The Rover. Here you can see the jealous husbands and conniving rivals. These are the common characters which are reflecting their affectations and artificiality of their lives.
Um, Friends, I am sure some of you are reading The Way of the World at some level of your studies. Now, it is very remarkable and it is most finished kind of Restoration comedy, sans the vulgarity. But you can see the upper class society is very much there. Number two, most characters, most major characters, male and female, having affairs, and it is very difficult exactly to find who is in love with whom. So every male character is almost in love with so many other female characters. Same thing is with the female characters. Most female characters are having affairs with so many male characters. Now it is very confusing, and this is exactly what makes the Restoration comedies very complicated. So the point is that they have got the complicated plots. The plots of the Restoration comedies were complicated because of other reason also. You will always find a kind of condition for love making. Now it is very strange, friends. Love is after all love, and what Shakespeare said, we vividly remember, love is not love which alters when it finds the alternative. But here, every now and then we come across some ifs and buts. So if this happens, then I will love you, and if this doesn't happen, I will hate you. If this happens, you will get this. If this doesn't happen, you will not get this. So two things: one, the love on the condition in terms of emotions. It was a kind of emotional blackmailing. And number two, it was always conditioned by some legal aspect. That is, if the hero or the heroine follows this type of things, then only he would get the fortune which was to be inherited to him, provided he follows certain norms. So in most plays, including the way of the world, you find this type of trends, and this is exactly what makes the play very complicated. And complicated plots lead to so many questions, so many confusions, and it became in a way most artificial. So you can never believe that these things can happen in the play. This thing can happen with the hero, or heroine could do this thing, or the guardians of the heroine could do this thing also, because on the surface the guardian loves the hero or the heroine, but in the next scene you will find that he is making some intrigues against the loving pairs. Not only that, the elderly people, and this is exactly what you find in the character of Lady Wishford of The Way of the World, that she is also contriving to harass the love making pairs, the hero and the heroine. So she would always feel that she is young, not the heroine who is in her teens. She would not appreciate the heroine, the young girl, doing some love excesses. No. But if it is for herself, though she is 55 or so of age, she would always like to go for love affairs, and she would never allow the young girls or the heroes to pursue the suit of love. So this is exactly what happens in most comedies of restoration, and this is what makes the plays most complicated. And love for love, the Way of the World of Congreve is most finished example of the restoration comedy. I would like to talk about The Country Wife by Wycherley also. I told you that the king himself was the patron of this type of comedies. Now see, if you please the king, then king is all set to do anything. And interestingly, this is exactly what happened in the case of our playwright, restoration dramatist William Wycherley. What happened was that he fell ill and he could not afford to pay to the doctor's bill. So king was very pleased with his plays. So the king himself sponsored all the expenses, and he sent our playwright to England for treatment. The playwright had almost 7-star facilities over there, and the king paid all the bills. The reason, not that he was the greatest of all playwrights of the day, but the reason was he pleased the king with his plays. And this is the height of a typical feature of the restoration comedy. If you are a great writer, it doesn't matter. What is important is you must please the audience. You must please the king with a performance, with vulgarity, with witty dialogues, and with complicated love intrigues. Then only king would be happy with you. He would go to the any extent to help you. And these are some of the titles, and I would go to the next slide, which is very important. So I told you that this type of things, this type of drama cannot go on for long. Just as you can say that without drama also a society cannot go, though it went for as many as 18 years during the Puritan age. What happened next was there was a kind of decline and fall of this type of comedy. It was quite obvious that society cannot carry on with vulgarity, society cannot carry on for long obscenity, and no society would cherish this type of evils to happen. Importantly, the audience which were there during Charles the First rule, Charles the Second's time, and they had also their next generation, who would also felt that we should also go for this type of drama. Interestingly, the father would not entertain his son joining him the vulgar drama. So there was a kind of clash which took place. Society in general also felt that why we are left out of this type of drama. We must be the part of this drama also. We can also have the easy access to this type of drama. So there was a demand from the society, large part of the society, which was for years kept away from the theatre going activity, right from the revolution of 1642 until the last quarter of the 17th century. So there was a demand from the society that we also want the drama. There was a cry for the cleansing of the drama, because there was vulgarity which was quite prominent, and that was the only way of the drama. So society wanted cleansing of the drama. Many critics of course tried. Dryden himself tried to raise his voice against this type of drama, but his voice was not heard. Interestingly, it was a priest, and you can read in the slide, his name was Jeremy Collier, who published a pamphlet, the title of which is A Short View of the Profaneness and Immorality of the English Stage. Now, the title itself suggests what the pamphlet is all about. It was published in 1908, and again there was second edition in 1700. My point here is the society could not say no to the king in terms of the vulgarity. They could not stop this type of activity in the theatre. Critics and men of letters also raised their voice, but no one succeeded. It was only Collier who wrote the pamphlet, and this has brought in a drastic change in the scene, and it only invited the fall of the restaurant comedy, especially the vulgarity in the plays. He criticized the theatre and he criticized the playwrights. He himself criticized the king himself, that being the king, he is encouraging the immorality and vulgarity. This is not good for the society, and he strongly and vehemently argued against the restoration comedy. And in a way we can say that by 1700 the restoration comedy or comedy of manners came to an end, though it is a tentative date and we cannot say that this is the exact year when there was no more of the restoration comedy, but tentatively the restoration comedy came up during these years starting from 1660 to 1700. You can also stretch the year 10 years here and there, but tentatively, if we talk about the restoration comedies, the role of Jeremy Collier, who had been himself a priest, who brought in the fall of this type of vulgarity in the comedies, and hence there was a kind of total end of the restoration comedy, typical restoration comedy of manners. Now, interesting thing, as I told you earlier, was that if there was no vulgarity in the play, then there was a vacuum, there was a gap, and there was a kind of need to fill up this gap, and this is exactly what gave rise to a new kind of comedy, that is sentimental comedy. Now, important thing to be noted when we think of the end or the fall of the restaurant comedy, that if there was no vulgarity, if there was no immorality, if there was no obscenity in the plays, if there were no double meaning dialogues, then how the gap was filled up in the sentimental comedy. And it is very interesting to note, and this is exactly what you also find in the book of Dobry, the restaurant comedy, that what gave way to the obscenity, vulgarity, sexuality in the restaurant comedy was the middle class morality, hypocrisy, that was the prominent feature of the sentimental comedy. In a way we can say there were two remarkable changes in terms of these two type of comedies. Restoration comedy had only a limited and restricted kind of audience that was comprised of the upper class only. here in the sentimental comedy, which came up because of the pamphlet of Jeremy Collier. And what we find is the middle class, which was prominent in the sentimental comedy, which followed the Restoration comedy. Number two, if the Restoration comedies were marked by vulgarity, obscenity, and witty dialogues and complicated plots, which had no place for the characters, in the sentimental comedy, which followed the Restoration comedy, we have got the hypocrisy, typical middle class mentality. And there was a fine reason for that, and we would like to talk about that also. Because of the economical growth in England, the middle class also was becoming richer and richer. So they also felt that we also belong to this particular class of the aristocrat. They also felt that because we belong to this class, we can also be part of the Restoration comedy. But because of Collier's pamphlet, there was no obscenity, there was no vulgarity. So what was there was the typical middle class mentality. And as we know, middle class in every corner of the world is more conscious about the morals. So there are plenty of do's and don'ts. And interestingly, again, if we go to the human nature, the human being would like to follow one thing. He would always feel that though this is wrong, he would always appreciate if he himself is doing the same activity. But he will certainly disapprove and criticize if the same wrong activity is done by others. And what he would do is he would criticize the others. Hey, you are doing this thing which is very wrong, which is not suitable for you or the society. But if the man himself is doing that thing, he would certainly appreciate himself and he finds nothing wrong. This is exactly what happened in the sentimental comedy, which followed, which came up after the Restoration comedy. So hypocrisy is the key term in the sentimental comedy, and it replaced vulgarity, obscenity, sexuality of the Restoration comedy. So Bonamy Dobry also disapproves vulgarity, obscenity, and sexuality in the plays simply because he thinks that if the Restoration comedy is to survive, there should be no place for that. And because of this points, means vulgarity and immorality, the play was heading towards a decline. And Jeremy Collier